Today we will study the topics Wheatstone bridge, meter bridge and potentiometer along with an illustrated numerical based on each of those three topics. Topic Wheatstone bridge. Wheatstone, full name Charles Wheatstone, was a scientist and he devised a special kind of circuit in which Kirchhoff's rules can be used. Now here Wheatstone bridge. What is Wheatstone bridge? You can note down, not given in the description over here, which I dictate you, and it will be quite helpful to you. When four resistors into bracket 3 known and 1 unknown bracket over are connected in series are connected in the form of a quadrilateral with a galvanometer in the middle, that is into bracket, across one pair of its diagonal, and a battery, key and rheostat connected in series across its another diagonal points, then such an arrangement circuit is known as Wheatstone bridge. Now we refer the description. As I told you, the bridge has four resistors R1, R2, R3 and R4, which we refer in the figure. We just refer the figure first. Here, as in the figure, we see that R1, R2, R3 and R4 are the four resistors in the form of a quadrilateral. Now I1 is the current passing through R1. Similarly, I2 through R2, I3 through R3 in the lower branch from D to C, and I4 through R4. Galvanometer is connected in the middle, that is across the diagonal element B and D, and between A and C, the other diagonal element battery is connected. Positive terminal of the battery is connected to the A point. Now A in the figure is known as junction. Why junction? Because at A three wires meet, that is A point, then it is splitted up into two currents, I1 and I2. We can see here. Similarly, at point B junction, then at point D junction, and again at point C junction. That is A and C junction points, it forms the battery arm, and B and D another junction points, it forms the galvanometer arm. Now we refer the description written here. So four resistors R1, R2, R3 and R4, and across one pair of diagonally opposite points, that is A and C in the figure, a source is connected, that is battery. between the other two vertices B and D, a galvanometer G is connected. Galvanometer will detect currents. Now we assume that the cell has no internal resistance. Cell has no internal resistance. Now in the case of a balanced bridge, current flowing through the galvanometer Ig equal to 0, which has been tick marked. Now we apply Kirchhoff's junction rule at junctions D and B respectively. First at D point we apply. So at D point when we apply, currents are at point D I1 and I3. So I1 current is coming towards the junction, so it is taken as positive sign, and I3 going away from D junction, therefore it is negative. So we get, which I have written here above, not written in the description, I have written here. At point D, I1 minus I3 equal to 0. Similarly, at point B, we have two currents. One is I4 and the second one is I2. Now I2 is coming towards the junction, so taken positive as plus sign, and I4 going away from the junction B, therefore minus sign is considered, and Ig going away from B, so again minus Ig, but that is equal to 0, so we don't bother about it. I2 and I4. So as a result we have at point D, at point B, we have seen at point D, that is I1 minus I3 equal to 0, and again at point B, that is this second junction above, I2 minus I4 equal to 0. Hence we have from the above equations I1 equal to I3 and I2 equal to I4. Now we apply Kirchhoff's second rule, that is loop rule, to closed loops ADBA, first ADBA and then to CBDC, that is in an ADBA, that is in anti-clockwise direction, that is this first loop. ADBA. Now I have drawn another loop with purple color. Now in the given figure, if the black arrow that is given in the figure and the purple arrow, if both are in the same direction, then it will be minus sign, and if in opposite direction, then it will be plus sign, so which will become easier to you. Now applying Kirchhoff's second rule, that is along the closed loop, first ADBA, so it is anti-clockwise direction. So if we travel like this from A to D, it will be with same direction, so minus I1 R1. Then again coming to the other part ADB, from D to B, so same direction, so minus Ig into G, that is the internal resistance Ig into G, but Ig equal to 0, so that will be equal to, and G direction is plus, so it will be plus 0, so it is not affecting. Now from B to A, B to A, current is I2 in the opposite direction, so it will be plus I2 R2 equal to 0. Now again for the closed loop C, B, D, C, so that again in the anti-clockwise direction, traveling from C to B, so it will be C to B, purple arrow and black arrow in the opposite direction, so plus sign, so I2, sorry, here steps are eliminated which I have written here, I4 R4, I4 R4, plus sign, then traveling from B to D, so it will be same direction, so plus 0, because Ig equal to 0, Ig into G is plus 0, not affecting, sorry, same direction, so minus 0 but not affecting, and the last one, that is from D to C again, so same direction, so minus I3 R3 equal to 0. Now in short we have got those two equations. First one is minus I1 R1 plus 0 plus I2 R2 equal to 0 along closed loop ADBA, and because Ig equal to 0. Similarly for the second loop, that is CBDC, I have written with colored pen minus I3 R3 plus I4 R4 minus 0 equal to 0. If we take in the order CBDC, then first I4 R4 term will come and then minus 0, and lastly it will come minus I3 R3. Now substituting for I3, which I have encircled, equal to I1 and I4 equal to I2, because using Kirchhoff's first rule which we have already derived. So therefore this will be equal to I2 R4 plus 0 minus I1 R3 equal to 0. Now the two sets of equations have been tick marked. Now in the first equation, if we take minus I1 R1 on the other side, it will be I1 R1 equal to I2 R2, and similarly minus I1 R3 on the other side in equation number 2, then it will be I1 R3 equal to I2 R4. So therefore we get I1 upon I2 equal to R2 upon R1 from the first equation, and similarly from second we get I1 upon I2 equal to R4 upon R3. Now comparing those two equations, 3.81 and 3.82. So we get I1 upon I2, sorry, just excuse me, we already obtained those two equations. From the first one, I1 upon I2 equal to R2 upon R1 and I1 upon I2 equal to R4 upon R3. Now again comparing those two sets of equations, we have I1 upon I2 both in LHS, so again RHS will be equal to RHS, so R2 upon R1 will be equal to R4 upon R3. The equation has been tick marked and made, a box has been made. So this is the answer for, that is the condition for the bridge to be balanced. Balance condition for the galvanometer to give zero or null deflection, that is Ig equal to 0. So we have seen here R2 upon R1 equal to R4 upon R3, that is we have the two resistors of the same loop, first on the R2 and R1. So we see, refer the figure, R2 and R1 of the same loop, first on the upper part and the second one on the lower part. Similarly on RHS second loop, that is R4 on the upper part and R3 on the lower part. Now this again can also be written as, if you change the, so you haven't to simply learn that upper upon lower. If you change the labeling of the resistors, then the equation will also change. The same equation can also be written as R2 upon R4 equal to R1 upon R3. From the figure also you can refer. Other way can be, that is in the first part R2 upon R4, that is the upper part, both the resistors, and equal to R1 upon R3 in the lower part, both the resistors. And mathematically also it will turn out to be the same. Now next point, so Wheatstone bridge is used for determination of an unknown resistance, to determine the value of unknown resistance. Now out of 4 resistors, suppose if R4 is not known, then we have the equation R4 equal to R3 into R2 upon R1, that is equation 3.83b, which has been tick marked. A practical device using this principle is called the meter bridge, which we shall see now. But before going to that, we refer one illustrated example, example 3.8. Example 3.8, it can be asked for 3 or 4 marks. The 4 arms of a Wheatstone bridge, figure 3.26, have the following resistances: AB equal to 100 ohms, here it's written in the figure also, BC equal to 10 ohms, CD equal to 5 ohms, and DA equal to 60 ohms. This is the figure. Later on we refer the figure for the solution. A galvanometer of 15 ohm resistance is connected across BD. Calculate the current through the galvanometer when a potential difference of 10 volt is maintained across AC. So we have to calculate the current passing through the galvanometer, that is the value of Ig. Now for referring the solution, we will consider the figure given. Figure will be provided to you in the exam, which again you have to redraw. Now solution considering the mesh BADP. Mesh means closed loop. Mesh is also known as closed loop. BADB, that is we travel in anti-clockwise direction. We refer the figure. Figure is quite clear now. Say traveling from point B to A, that is we consider the loop BADB along anti-clockwise direction our path of journey. So going from B to A, the purple arrow and the black arrow both are in the opposite direction, so there will be plus sign, and the equation will be sigma IR equal to sigma E, that is using Kirchhoff's second rule. So it will be equal to 100 into I1, positive sign because opposite direction. Then traveling from A to D, it will be 60 into I2, but in the same direction, so minus sign, so minus 60 I2. And then traveling from D to B, this opposite direction, so plus sign, so plus 15 ohms is the resistance of galvanometer, capital G, so 15 into Ig, plus 15 Ig equal to 0. Now again second loop we take, that is CBDC, again in anti-clockwise direction. So while traveling from C to B, so 10 ohms into I1 minus Ig, 10 into I1 minus Ig. Why? Because here it is plus sign because opposite direction, purple arrow and black arrow both in opposite direction, so plus sign. Then traveling from B to D, so again it will be minus sign, minus because both are in the same direction, so minus 15 Ig. Then traveling from D to C, so same direction, so again minus sign, so minus 5 into bracket is important here, minus 5 into bracket I2 plus Ig. Now we refer the simplified equations as given in the description of the solution. Say first one, I had already explained you how this equation comes. 100 I1 plus 15 Ig minus 60 I2 equal to 0, because sigma IR equal to sigma E using Kirchhoff's second rule and in anti-clockwise direction. So now dividing this each term of this equation by 5, we get 20 I1 plus 3 Ig minus 12 I2 equal to 0, which has been tick marked. Now again considering the mesh CBDC, the previous one has been eradicated, not BCDB, but it is CBDC along anti-clockwise direction, and we have 10 into I1 minus Ig, bracket is important, minus 15 Ig minus, here Ig is taken in the middle term, there I had explained you in the end, because traveling along the path Ig was coming in the end, that's why. Here we have taken it in the middle, but doesn't make any difference. So minus 15 Ig minus 5 into bracket I2 plus Ig, bracket important, equal to 0. Now simplifying Ig, that will be, first one is minus 10 Ig, in the from the second term is minus 15 Ig, and the last one is minus 5 Ig. So total leads to minus 30 Ig. So therefore 10 I1 minus 30 Ig minus 5 I2 equal to 0. Now dividing this equation each term by 5, we get 2 I1 minus 6 Ig minus I2 equal to 0. Now again, lastly we consider the mesh ADCEA, that is the outer part. We again refer the figure for that, and I explain you. ADCEA. Now this way we travel. So in going from A to D, we get I2 into 60. So 60 I2 along the same direction. So it will be minus sign, minus 60 I2. Now in going from D to C now, so it will be 5 into bracket I2 plus Ig bracket over. So here also in the same direction. So again minus sign. Now traveling from C to E. So here battery, first negative terminal of the battery cell comes. So it is minus sign. So equal to minus 10. All the three signs minus. So we get all as plus. We refer the solution again. Here I have written ADCEA mesh minus 60 I2 minus 5 into I2 plus Ig equal to minus 10. So making it all as plus. So 60 I2 plus 5 into I2 plus Ig equal to 10. Therefore simplifying I2, that is 60 plus 5 I2, that is 65 I2 plus 5 Ig from the bracketed term equal to 10. So therefore dividing each term by 5 of this equation, we get 13 I2 plus Ig equal to 2, which again has been tick marked. Now multiply the above equation, that is 2 I1 minus 6 Ig minus I2, the upper equation which has been written as divided by 5, multiply that equation by 10. Here I already written multiply by 10. So we get 20 I1 minus 60 Ig minus 10 I2 equal to 0. Now this equation and this is labeled as equation 3.84D. This equation and the equation 3.84A, that is this one, 3.84A and 3.84D. Now we simplify those two, we solve these two equations simultaneously and we have to subtract. So while subtracting, 20 I1 and 20 I1 will cancel away and minus sign will become opposite sign. So minus sign will be plus, and here again minus sign will be plus. So it will be 3 Ig plus 60 Ig, that is 63 Ig, and minus 12 I2 plus 10 I2, that is equal to minus 2 I2. So therefore we have 63 Ig minus 2 I2 equal to 0. Therefore I2 will be equal to 63 Ig by 2, therefore I2 equal to 31.5 Ig, which has been tick marked. Now substituting this value of I2 in equation 3.84c, that is this one, 13 I2 plus Ig equal to 2. So 13 into 31.5 plus Ig equal to 2. So therefore, simply multiplying and simplifying, we get 410.5 Ig equal to 2. Therefore, Ig will be equal to 410 Ig will be equal to 2 divided by 410.5 will be equal to 4.87 into 10 raised to minus 3 ampere. Answer will come in ampere. Now galvanometer can measure current in the order of, generally used for measuring current in the order of milliampere, and from ampere to milliampere, so we multiply by 10 raised to 3, so it will be equal to, therefore Ig, that is 10 raised to minus 3 into 10 raised to 3, that will be 4.87 only. So therefore minus 10 raised to minus 3 plus into 10 raised to 3, that will be equal to 10 raised to 0, that is equal to 1. So therefore Ig equal to 4.87 milliampere, which is the final answer. Now next topic, that is meter bridge. We first refer the figure. It's a practical application of Wheatstone bridge circuit. Here there are three metallic strips, two L-shaped metallic strips with gap in between them, and the middle strip, that is where B is written, in between two L-shaped metallic strips. Now between point A and C as shown in the figure, that is at the end points of the two strips, a metallic wire generally made up of constantan is tightly tied between the 2 points A and C, whose length is always 1 meter, that is 100 centimeter, known as Wheatstone bridge wire, beneath which a meter scale is also, wooden meter scale is also fitted to know the null point length. And at the end points, a battery, key and rheostat also is used to change the value of resistance in the circuit. Battery, key and rheostat connected in series. Now here first in the first and second across the first metallic strip and the second metallic strip, resistance R, which is unknown, whose value has to be found out, is connected. On the other side, standard resistance S is connected, and in the middle of the metallic strip, galvanometer is connected through a jockey, which can slide on the Wheatstone bridge metallic wire made of constantan. Now suppose the null point obtained as shown in the figure is at D point, then from A to D length will be L1, and from D to C length will be obviously 100 minus L1 centimeter. So here it is written wire AC is 1 meter long, R is a resistance to be measured, and S is a standard resistance. You will come across practical of this, and this is known as practical circuit of Wheatstone bridge. So now we refer its description. It consists of a wire of length 1 meter and of uniform cross-sectional area. Uniform cross-sectional area is important. The metallic strip has two gaps across which resistors can be connected. The end points where the wire is clamped are connected to a cell through a key, and also along with a rheostat at times. One end of a galvanometer is connected to the metallic strip midway between the two gaps, and the other end of the galvanometer is connected to a jockey which can slide over the wire to make electrical connection. R is an unknown resistance whose value we want to find out. Now, standard known resistance is S. The portion AD in the figure of the wire has resistance RCML, where RCM is the resistance of the wire per unit length, that is per unit centimeter, and DC portion has resistance RCM into 100 minus L. So 4 ohms with resistances RS, RCML and RCM into 100 minus L form a Wheatstone bridge. If the jockey is moved along the wire, there will be one position where the galvanometer will show no current, that is null point deflection. No deflection in the galvanometer, so showing no current, and Ig equal to 0. Now the balance condition gives us R upon S, as we have seen in the case of Wheatstone bridge, that it is the ratio of two resistors. So that is R upon S equal to RCM into L1 upon RCM into 100 minus L1. RCM cancels out, so this is equal to L1 upon 100 minus L1, equation 3.85, which has been tick marked. Therefore, R will be equal to S into S taken on the other side. So, unknown resistance R equal to S into L1 upon 100 minus L1. And by choosing, so which is the final equation to find the value of R. So, by choosing various values of S, we can get various values of L1 and hence calculate R each time. Generally, L1 is kept close to 50 centimeter, that is by adjusting the balance point near the middle of the bridge. Here, this is one of the limitations of Wheatstone bridge to minimize the error, and the null point should invariably, the null point, you can note down this, should invariably be obtained between 40 centimeter to 60 centimeter, which I have written here. And the other limitation of Wheatstone bridge is that it is used for measuring low value of resistance only, not used for high value to find out high value of resistance, or high value of resistance cannot be found out by this method. So this topic is over. Now we refer again an illustrated example based on this. Example 3.9, 3 marks. In a meter bridge, figure 3.27, the null point is found at a distance of 33.7 cm from A. If now a resistance of 12 ohm is connected in parallel with S, the null point occurs at 51.9 cm. Determine the values of R and S. So we have to find out two values of resistances, that is R and S. Now figure as such not required, but still we refer it. It may not be given to you in the exam. That is the same figure, this one, which we had already seen in the case of meter bridge. R and S, whose values we want to find out. Now we refer the description of the solution. From the first balance point, we get R upon S equal to 33.7 upon 66.3. Why? Because L1 upon 100 minus L1. We have the formula R upon S equal to L1 upon 100 minus L1. So 100 minus 33.7, which is equal to 66.3. Now after S is connected in parallel with a resistance of 12 ohms given in the data, then S changes to S equivalent, SEQ, where SEQ equal to S equivalent equal to 12S upon S plus 12. Why? Because R equivalent, that is the formula for equivalent resistance in the case of parallel connection of resistors, equal to R1 R2 upon R1 plus R2, and then reciprocating it, here S equivalent will be, we get S equivalent equal to 12S upon S plus 12. 12 ohms is connected in parallel with S, so 12 multiplied by S, so 12S upon S plus 12, R1 plus R2. And hence the new balance condition will be 51.9, that is given in the data. Null point occurs at 51.9 centimeter. So 51.9 upon 100 minus 51.9, that is equal to 48.1. So equal to R upon SEQ equal to, now R into S. For S equivalent we substitute the value from above, that is equal to R into S plus 12 upon 12S, because SEQ is in the denominator, so reciprocating it we get this equation 3.88. Now substituting the value of R upon S from the above equation 3.87, that is equal to R upon S value will be equal to 33.7 upon 66.3. So here therefore 51.9 upon 48.1 equal to S plus 12 upon 12 into 33.7 upon 66.3. Now we have to simplify this, and for simplification the easier method will be, first you simplify 33.7 upon 66.3 will turn out to be decimal value. That value divided by 12 will again give you some decimal value, and that will be equal to 54 point, again simplify 51.9 upon 48.1 into the previous value of the other side ratio divided by 12. So that will be equal to S plus 12. Now simplifying and making S as the subject of the formula, and from S plus 12 taking 12 on the other side, that is minus 12, the simplified answer of S will be equal to 13.5 ohms. That is answer number 1. And now from S we can easily find out R from the very first equation 3.87 by substituting the value of S 13.5. So that is equal to, therefore R upon 13.5, here it's not written, R upon 13.5 equal to 33.7 upon 66.3. Now we simplify this 33.7 upon 66.3, which will lead to 0.508. 0.508 multiplied by 13.5, which on simplification will give R equal to 6.86 ohms, which is the final answer number 2. So here two answers R and S. S equal to 13.5 ohms, first answer, and R equal to 6.86 ohms, second answer. Now next topic, and the last one for today, that is potentiometer. This instrument consists of a long piece of uniform wire, sometimes few meters in length, across which a standard cell is connected, and the wire is connected at the ends by thick metallic strip, which we refer in the figure 3.28. I explain you the figure in short, which will be easier to you to understand. Now in this figure, from point A to point C, metallic strips have been shown in the form of L shape. From point A, two cells E1 and E2 having EMF E1 and E2 are shown, and they are connected to a two-way key, TWK, written in short over here. And from point 3, three terminals are there, 1, 2 and 3 of two-way key. Now from point A, between points A and C, that is the end points of the metallic strip across which the potentiometer wire is connected, whose length is more than 1 meter, that is Wheatstone bridge wire. Its length is more than 100 centimeter. Now from points A and C, battery connected in series with a variable resistance, connected again in series with key K1. And now from point 3, third terminal of two-way key, there are three terminals 1, 2 and 3 shown in two-way key. From the third terminal connected to a galvanometer, then the other end of the galvanometer connected to a jockey which is slided on, and it is shown at point N1 on the wire. Similarly, another point shown slided on the wire at point N2. Now we refer the description. Current I flows through the wire, which can be varied by rheostat R in the circuit. Now the potential difference, that is PD between A and any point at a distance L from A, that is null point length, is given by E of L equal to phi L, which has been tick marked, where phi is the potential drop per unit length. The figure which we have seen is used to compare the EMF of two cells of EMF E1 and E2. You will come across two practicals of this potentiometer. First one is to measure the EMF of two cells, that is E1 and E2, by considering one of the cells as the standard cell and comparing it with it. And the second one is to measure the internal resistance of a cell, which later on we shall see here only. Now to compare the EMF of two cells of EMF E1 and E2, we consider first a position of the key where 1 and 3 are connected, so that the galvanometer is connected to E1, 1 and 3 terminals of two-way key. Here you can refer the 1 and 3 terminals of two-way key connected to E1. So and we obtain the null point length, that is no deflection in the galvanometer. And Kirchhoff's loop rule to the closed loop, A N1 G G3 I A G3 1A, sorry, A N1 G3 1A from 3 to 1 and then to point A. We get phi L1 plus 0 minus E1. Why minus? Because negative sign comes along the path of journey. Negative terminal of the cell comes first, so it is minus E1. So phi L1 plus 0 minus E1 equal to 0, which has been tick marked. Similarly, for another EMF E2, that is the second cell at point N2. So phi L2 plus 0 minus E2 equal to 0, which again has been tick marked. Now from those two equations which have been tick marked, we get phi will cancel away, and taking minus E1 and minus E2 on the other side, we get E1 upon E2 equal to L1 upon L2, which is the final equation. In practice, one of the cells is chosen as a standard cell whose EMF is known to a high degree of accuracy, while the EMF of the other cell can then be easily calculated. Now another practical, as I told you, that is another it can be used, another use of potentiometer, that is another practical use a potentiometer to measure internal resistance of a cell. For this, EMF of the cell denoted by E, whose internal resistance denoted by small r is to be determined, which is connected across a resistance box through key K2 shown in the figure. We refer this figure, that is the figure 3.28b part, this figure. Previous figure two-way key was there. Now here two keys K1 and K2. Instead of two-way key, here key K2 is of importance. Between points A and C, same connection as in the previous figure, but at point A here only one cell whose EMF is denoted by E is connected in series with a resistance box RB, again with key K2, and the other connections remain same, that is from that point connected to galvanometer, and the again null point obtained at point N1 and N2. Here the position of the galvanometer, N1 and N2 has been shown changed. Now to determine the internal resistance small r, first we have to keep key K2 open and balance is obtained at length L1, that is say AN1, from point A to N1. We can refer from point A to N1, that is the lower part. So we get E will be equal to phi into L1, which has been tick marked. Now we close key K2. So the cell sends current I through the resistance box R. Now if V is the terminal potential difference of the cell and balance is obtained at length L2, then we get potential difference V equal to phi L2, which again has been tick marked. So we have, taking the ratio of the two equations, that is E upon V equal to phi will cancel away and we have equal to L1 upon L2, which has been tick marked. Now for the by substituting the value of E and V both on LHS, we have E equal to IR according to Ohm's law. So this is equal to I into small r, which is the internal resistance of the battery, plus the external resistance, that is capital R, and V equal to IR, standard formula of Ohm's law. So this is therefore we get, for E upon V will be equal to, that is LHS will be equal to II will cancel away, so we have R plus R upon, that is R, capital R plus small r upon capital R, equal to L1 upon L2. And now making small r as the subject of the equation, and on simplifying we get small r equal to capital R upon L1 upon L2 minus 1 bracket over. Again I repeat, small r equal to capital R into bracket, which is important, into bracket L1 upon L2 minus 1 is taken as second term, which again has been tick marked. That is the final equation to determine the resistance, internal resistance of the cell. The potentiometer has the advantage that it draws no current from the voltage source being measured, no current from the voltage source, and it is unaffected by the internal resistance of the source, unaffected by the internal resistance of the source. Apart from this, here it's not given, you can note it down, which will be quite helpful to you. Now, what is a potentiometer? You can write within a single sentence, which I dictate you. Potentiometer is a device to obtain a continuously varying potential. To obtain a continuously varying potential difference, that is PD, between any 2 points, which can be measured simultaneously. Which can be measured simultaneously. This is one of the uses of potentiometer, and the second use is, hence potentiometer measures the terminal voltage of a cell as well as the EMF of a cell under open circuit condition. Under open circuit condition, that is when I equal to 0. So, potentiometer is superior to ordinary table voltmeter because table voltmeter simply measures the terminal voltage of a cell. Now, this topic is over and we refer example 3.10, 3 marks. A resistance of R ohms draws current from a potentiometer. The potentiometer has a total resistance R0 ohms, figure 3.29. Figure will be provided to you in the exam and you have to redraw it. A voltage V is supplied to the potentiometer. Derive an expression for the voltage across R when the sliding contact is in the middle of the potentiometer. Now we refer the figure first. Say V is the voltage source shown by 2 dots and V is written. Then between the 2 points A and C on the potentiometer wire, it has a total resistance denoted by R0, and R0 again from point A, external resistance R is connected, and we have to find out the voltage across this R drawn below, that is at the bottom, and from the external resistance point B is shown, that is the sliding contact. The jockey is slided on the wire and it is lying at point B, that is in the middle of AC wire, that is in the middle of R0 resistance. Now we refer its solution. While the slide is in the middle of the potentiometer, we find that only half of its resistance, means resistance is R0, which will become R0 by 2 between the points A and B. Here point B is shown, A and B. At point B there is the sliding contact. Hence the total resistance between A and B, suppose let it be denoted by R1 say, then we first find the value of R1, that is 1 upon R1. Why we take this equation 1 upon R1 equal to 1 upon R plus 1 upon R0 by 2? Because R0 and the resistance R, that is at the bottom, both are connected in parallel, and in parallel we have the equation 1 upon R equal to 1 upon R1 plus 1 upon R2. So here the resistance R is denoted by R1 say, so 1 upon R1 equal to R is given at the bottom, so 1 upon R plus resistance R0 becomes half, so plus 1 upon R0 by 2. Now 1 plus 1 upon R0 by 2, so 2 will go in numerator, so this is equal to 1 upon R plus 2 upon R0. This on simplifying and reciprocating it, we get R1 equal to R0R upon R0 plus 2R, which has been tick marked. Now we want to calculate the total resistance between A and C, which will be the sum of resistances between A and B. If we refer the figure, A and C, resistance between A and C equal to resistance between the length AB and BC. Now that is equal to AB is given by R1, which we have calculated in the above equation. So R1 plus again BC will be R0 by 2. So R1 plus R0 by 2, which has been tick marked. Now to find the current flowing through the potentiometer, capital I equal to, according to Ohm's law, I equal to V upon R. So V upon, in denominator, R equal to R1 plus R0 by 2. Now this 2 will go in numerator, so equal to 2V upon 2R1 plus R0, which has again been tick marked. Now we want to calculate voltage V1. So V1 will be equal to IR1, because we have V equal to IR from Ohm's law. So now substituting the value of I from the above equation, which is equal to 2V upon 2R1 plus R0, which we have written in bracket, into again R1. Now in this equation we substitute the value of R1 in denominator and in numerator in multiplication, which has been encircled. So we get substituting for R1, we have V1 equal to 2V upon 2. Now here in bracket we substituted the value of R1, that is R1 equal to R0R upon R0 plus 2R, and plus R0 in denominator, again into R1, so that will be equal to into R0R upon R0 plus 2R. Now on simplifying this equation and the denominator by taking denominator of the first term by taking LCM, and on final simplification we get V1 equal to 2VR upon 2R plus R0 plus 2R. So 2R and 2R, that is equal to 4R. So therefore V1 equal to 2VR upon R0 plus 4R. Now how to remember this? In the first equation here, which I have tick mark, consider only those terms which will be easier for you to get the simplification done within no time and technique to learn by heart. So 2V into R, so 2VR upon 2R plus R0 plus 2R, that is the last terms, which again all those three terms have been tick marked. So 2R plus 2R, that is 4R and plus R0. Hence V1 equal to 2VR upon R0 plus 4R, which is the final answer. That is the expression for the voltage across R. This completes the chapter, and that's all for today.